What's up, guys? Welcome back to Mike It Yourself. And for this week's video, you know what? I've got to throw a huge shout out to one of our community members. I'll post his YouTube channel name here. But this is truly the spirit of what Mike It Yourself was initially created to be, and that was finding ingenuitive ways to solve your problems, right? Or create your own products, or just essentially do it yourself, right? And that meant from, like I said, either creation, fabricating something, or just doing the job yourself. And this guy actually did something amazing, and I want to share what that was because I think we can all benefit from it. So this is huge. So let's take a look at what we're doing today. Now, if you've watched my videos, you know that for my 07 Road King, I created a little bracket here so that I could mount my cell phone holder to the tank by essentially putting a screw through the dash and its normal thing. And I just took some raw aluminum, steel that I had, and just cut a very rough shape. Again, limited with the tools that I have, and that's going to be essential to what I'm going to point out here. But I created something that would allow me to do what I was looking to do, and that was stick my cell phone holder, which is magnetic, to the tank of my bike, and that way, if I wanted to adjust, my music or whatever, I could while I'm out on the ride. Just pull over and kind of change songs, whatever genre. So, with rough estimates, right? And I mean, I think I shared the size of this circle and this circle just because of this being the diameter of this, which is what goes on top of your dash, at least for my bike on the 07. He created an actual product. So he uses a company called Sen Cut Sen. And basically what you do is you spec out what you're looking to build and send them those dimensions. Now, their website says to upload a particular file, so I think you can create those files with like CAD. I'm even wondering if maybe you might be able to use the same software that they use for 3D printing, because really it doesn't matter if it's plastic or steel, like the dimensions, capturing all that stuff is probably still the same. So I'll pin that to the top of the comments, what software was used to create these. And again, this is a public company that you could just send that file to and say, hey, create me one of these, or create me 10 of these, whatever it is. So if you've ever run into a product where you're like, man, this thing would really be great if only this piece was metal, you can measure that out with some pretty simple tools, send that information to them, they'll produce that part for you and ship it to you. And it looks like their prices are pretty decent. So check out their website, Sen Cut Sen. I think it's pretty cool. But so he took this rough thing and created this amazing looking thing, right? So pretty close. Now, the differences that he created that I think are, really show the ingenuity behind his mindset here is he created this so that way, instead of this thing sitting on top of this, he created it so it sits on bottom, which I think is a far better design, because then you can see your little emblem. It just looks cleaner. And in order to do that, though, what he did is he added in kind of a lift here so it gets it back up off the tank and kind of floats it a little bit, right? Now, I didn't have this part in here on mine, but I think what he's looking to do is continuously improve on this design and be able to use this to help kind of pull and push it in to make it removable without having to take your screw out of your dash and all that stuff. So we're going to put this on. We're going to test it out, take a look. He included some padding here so that way we don't scratch our tank. So that's another great idea. And yeah, really cool. Now, that's not his first product though. First product that I don't know if this is absolutely his first product, but one of the other products he created was a bar delete. So the grab bar delete on the older bikes. Let's take a look at what the grab bar is first. All right, on your older Harleys, I say older, early 2000s, right? Maybe 98 to 13. I'm not sure when they stopped making these, but they had these grab bars, and this is where you mounted your license plate. Now, I switched out to this luggage rack because I wanted to cover that up, right? I didn't have a better solution to hide the big holes that kind of lived there, and just made it look kind of ugly, right? And that's because I moved my license plate down there. So there are companies that make some products to do this, but I mean, personally, when I looked, I didn't see anything that was like jumping out of me or whatever, right? Like, so I just went with, okay, this is a different solution that took away that just simple grab bar look and the big holes that were left behind from the license plate mount, and covered it up with these things. So what he came up with is a design for a bracket that will allow you to remove that grab bar, because when you do that, you got kind of two pieces here for the fender support that you need to fill that gap, right? You need to bring those things together, and we'll show you in the installation here, but he created a bracket that would allow him to do that and present it in a clean fashion. So we're going to put that on. I think this is going to be great. He included some screws. Now, this is homemade, right? Like, he sent a file, got it created. So there are no instructions, but I think we're smart enough to figure this out. It doesn't look too complicated, but leave it to Mike, and I'm sure I can screw it up. So let's hope I don't do that. First things first, let's put our new tank phone holder on and see how it looks. All right, so I got all my parts that I need. I put the padded backing on this, so now we can just go ahead and I'm going to still use my longer screw because I still think I'm going to need it, but I might have to trim it down. So I'm not sure if my steel was as thick or thin. Look at that, the screw fits perfectly. There you go, snug it up, and then I should be able to put my little cap in there. My screw head's a little bit wider than my cap, but if it wasn't, it would fit right over, no problem. So I may need to change out my, damn, dropped it. I'm gonna have to change out my screw head, or my screw for a smaller screw head. You know what I mean. Now let's get the foam out and see how it sticks. All right, so that mounts up. Good Lord. I don't know if it's the type of metal or what, but this thing sticks really, really good. Slide your cell phone in there. You're ready to rock. And what's nice is it sits a little bit higher. So mine, I had to move down because of how low it was. It would hit my switch, and with this having that angle, it hovers over it, so I still have access to my switch. I can go ahead and turn it on and off, whatever I need, and still have my phone. So what's nice is because it sits a little higher, it's easier than, you know, you don't have to look down as far, right? I guess that's what I'm trying to say. So great design, man. Like, that is awesome. Who would have thunk it? Like, a company existing like that, where you could just simply send them that information, they could produce it. But to my point about being, you know, somebody with some skill to create something like that. Very cool. So all I need to do is fix my, get this screw to make it, because that thing gives no room for those little grippers or whatever. So I might just take that out and grind it down. Yeah, make it work, right? So, good deal. All right, so get your bags off, get your seat off. That way you just kind of clear the area. Because what you're gonna have to do is take off this little chrome cover here, which I believe is held on by 2 screws. So you got the one that's right next to your shock. And then the one that holds your saddlebag bracket. So we'll take this off. We're gonna do one side, and then so you guys can see it, and then I'll do the other side off camera, but at least you get an idea of how to get it done, because it's the same on both sides. So let's start with, actually got to get an Allen wrench for this guy. And I'm gonna guess he's probably about a 3/16. There we go. All right. So we do that. Put it off to the side. And then this guy, I believe it's a 7/16. And you most likely have to get a wrench in here just because this bracket doesn't afford you much space. And that should let you take that off. So there we go. All right, now in order to remove this altogether, I think we have to undo these two bolts, and then we've got these two bolts. So let me try to get you a little bit closer here, which I believe are all 1/2" bolts. And again, what we're going to be doing is replacing it with this guy, right? Now what I don't know is if this is going to be tab in or tab out. I think we'll figure that out once we get these parts off to see what's kind of left. So let's go ahead and take those off and find out. All right, so now that we got this off, this frees everything up so we can pull off the grab-on bar. So I'm gonna go ahead and knock out the other side really quick to get that all removed. But again, same 4 bolts plus the cover bolts, and then I'll bring you back when we're ready to kind of put the bracket on. All right, so we're ready to go ahead and remove the grab bar. So should just be giving it some room here. I don't know if I have to, yeah, give it some taps here. Let it move around. Oh, actually, I forgot my little filler. No. Nope. I think trying to figure out with these the chrome trim, so not my filler plates, but there's chrome that was already on the fender. They're kind of in the way, So I think we got to undo those to let them swing back. So let me go ahead and do that real quick. All right, so like I said, I just had to undo basically where the other saddlebag mounting bracket was associated to. That way I can pull this away and allow me to slip out that grab bar luggage rack deal. So now it's just a matter of putting it back together. So we're gonna take our bracket. Now there is a tab on the bracket, and hopefully I'm installing this right. Essentially, we're gonna go just like that. This should be covered up by the chrome piece. And that's probably what this is for, is just additional support. We have a hole in it, so I'm curious. Unique, let me know, what's that hole for? I'm curious. And I know this was like a prototype design, so maybe it was for anticipating something else. But yeah, I did put this screw back in just kind of temporarily, because as I was removing these, like this thing was about to swing out, and because that screw was missing, it would have fell. I have my airlines associated or attached to it, so I didn't want that to happen. So now we're going to go ahead and just kind of put our screws in and get this thing all bolted up back together again. So let's start working on it, and then we'll take a look at what this thing's going to look like with that nice clean open fender look. I had to jump a little ahead just because I was trying to figure out the screws, like which bolts was which. And again, this isn't a kit that you can just go buy. So you know, I get the point of this is I'm not saying, hey, go buy this kit or whatever, but rather just the fact that somebody came up with this as a solution for a grab bar delete to maintain the rigidity of, you know, the strut or whatever you want to call this to the fender, right? So anyhow, these bolts, they're just the right length, like it's right there. You know, and you're trying to balance a good fit between being too long and too short, right? So you got the two here. You need one of the stock ones here, because on this side here, you have like that big old like nut that goes into your fender. So you have to just use that, and then the one there. Other than that, all we should have to do is bolt this up, or getting it tightened down, and then kind of put our, oh, forgot to put those in place too. Darn it. I got ahead of myself. Anyhow, get this stuff all tightened up, and we should be able to put our chrome cover on, which will give us a completed side. So I'm going to throw some music on to this thing, because I like to listen to music while I jam out, but I don't want to get copyrighted. So unfortunately, you're going to have to listen to some non or copyright free music from YouTube. But this way, at least you don't get cut out from the process. So enjoy. Okay, so I've got one side done. Just wanted you guys to see kind of that process again. Out of the three or the 4 bolts here that mounting, so the 2 up here and 2 up here, you have to reuse this one. If you make your own brackets like these are, then you have to replace the 3 bolts with some bolts and, of course, locking nuts or washers, whatever you want to do. Just be mindful of the distance between your fender and those bolts. But I don't know if this tab is necessary. Well, like I said, it could be for something else. This were a prototype, so yeah, that's kind of what it looks like put on. Of course, I've got to still tighten everything down really nice and good, because I just used the Ryobi there to get things at least semi-tight. I don't crank down on it using that thing, just because it's not going to give me, what I'm looking for, and I want to make sure I do it right. The brackets I've got to work through adjusting, so let me do the other side. I got to adjust my brackets again to put the saddlebags on, and then I will bring you out when it's all finished, so you can see kind of the after process view with the chair on, the seat on, and everything. And it's gone. So what do you guys think? Do you feel like it makes it look cleaner, or what? Curious. I was afraid I wasn't gonna like it, to be honest. Just because I'm so used to seeing the luggage rack as kind of that old school Vikla look, and maybe that's part of the problem too, is it looks like every other Vikla, right? Where this would be maybe comparable to the Softail, but this is not a Softail, right? This is a Road King, so to have something like this is a bit different. Now, like I said, I pointed out these little brackets here, so you could probably put something in there, maybe some running lights. That'd be kind of cool, right? Or whatever, or even just like some chrome there to button that up, to block that off. But because it is powder coated black, you really don't see it, to be honest, especially if you're looking down. It doesn't really catch your eye. Yeah, it looks great. I'm impressed. And again, this is somebody who just they kind of mapped this out, sent it off to a third-party company. They cut the steel for them, and look what it created. All right, guys, so that's going to be a wrap for this week's video. This one I really appreciate, I think, quite a bit more, just because of the spirit of it. Again, these are parts that were created by one of the members of our community, and took ideas and made them a reality, right? And that's freaking huge. So I hope this inspires you to think, like I said, if maybe you're printing, you're doing 3D printing or whatever, you can transfer that knowledge, that skill, into steel. And you don't have to have a welding tool. You don't have to have fancy machinery to cut metal. You can just simply take your design, send it off to another company. They'll cut it for you, and you'll have exactly what it is that you're looking for. Now, you may want to template that stuff out before you send the final design over. And if you look at their website, Sen Cut Sen, they tell you that if you're looking to create something out of a more expensive metal, to create your prototype using a lower price metal, so that way if you have to make adjustments, you're not spending the money on that higher price metal. You're just spending on the lower price stuff until you get it perfected, and then submit for that higher price metal that you're looking for. So if that's the case, again, check them out. Huge thank you to Unique FLH. Like I said, throw his name down. Awesome dude. He's got a channel, a couple videos there, but he has been a really great resource as far as providing feedback on our channel. So if you haven't noticed, if you look in our comments, a lot of the really good detailed feedback is coming from him and a couple other folks too. So I appreciate you all. I appreciate all your feedback. If you're not like trolling and you're providing serious, honest, good, constructive feedback, I love it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope we inspired you. And if we did, hit that thumbs up, become a member of the community. I hope that you too can offer something to us as well. Like, let us know, what did you do differently? What did you create? And if you feel like, hey, Mike, you know what, I'd like you to share this because I don't have the platform, or I don't want to do the platform because YouTubing is another job, basically, send it to me. My P.O. box is in our profile, so ship it on over. Give me a heads up. Remember, I only have the ability to adopt to an 07 Road King or a 17 Road Glide. If it's a part outside of those two bikes, then unfortunately, I don't have anything to put it on, so I couldn't test it for you, or I couldn't, display it for you. But if it does fit, ship it. All right, until my next video, I hope to see you in the win.